Hey, what's going on? Hope you're having a shit one. If you've been watching this channel for a little bit or a long bit or whatever, even if you just got here today, the chances are you like photography. I mean, who doesn't like taking photos? It's awesome. You get to go out and take photos. I feel like I haven't really explained what it takes to actually be a photographer, as a career, and why you should even consider doing it at all. And once I've successfully convinced you that it is actually an awesome job, I'm gonna give you my top 3 recommendations on the best 3 cameras to get you started, or if you're an intermediate, or to go full professional with this shit. First of all, why would you take any advice from me? Now, I'm by no means a professional. Just like everyone else, and probably just like you, I'm still learning every single day with photography. I never want to feel like I'm better than anyone with photography because there are so many different variations and versions of photography and even filmmaking, which we'll delve into a little bit later, that I want to learn and want to try. I actually started out when I was about 12 or 13 years old. So we used to just get our skateboards, ride as fast as we could down hills, and then just document that pretty much. We used to photograph that and film that. We had a little group called Sherwood Skate, still on YouTube now actually. Those are some of the first videos I ever made. And it wasn't until I got a bit older where I started saving up for a bit more gear and I started to get my first ever jobs, like photographing people's houses and actually going behind the scenes on model and fashion shoots and filming little videos and stuff because my mum used to work in the fashion industry. Then I finally got a job at a car dealership being their full-time photographer, where I really got to hone in my skills because I was using a camera every single day of the week. It's basically been my whole life for the past 6-7 years. Anyway, after a few years on the field, I do have a little bit of knowledge and hopefully I can teach you a few things about the game. So when you go out on the streets and you try and get some work as a photographer, or you want to go out taking photos and stuff, everyone in your whole neighborhood's gonna want you to photograph stuff for them. But don't do it for free. Charge them like, I don't know, $10 a photo or something, and then bada bing, bada boom, you start to make a bit of money there. Let's bring it back a little bit, not to get your ego too high now that you're all confident and excited to go out and make some money and stuff. Let's actually learn how to take some fucking photos with the camera. If there's an idea that you're trying to execute, like a photo you're trying to take or reenact or something like that, and it's not working out the way you want it to, like when you have an idea and then you go out and try and shoot it, and if it's not working out the way that you want it to, it's probably because you haven't failed enough as a photographer to know what not and what to do. Photography and filmmaking and using a camera in general has a lot to do with trial and error and failing. And you do that by going out and trying new things and just pressing all the buttons on your camera and figuring it out. When I started using my first proper camera, I had a Nikon D3200 and I was absolutely horrible at photography. But I would just go around my neighborhood and take photos of anything. I didn't know that I wanted to do photography as a job. I just actually enjoyed doing photography. So if you're in that boat, just keep doing it. If it makes you happy, you should just do it. No matter how hard or how expensive it gets a little bit expensive. You should do it because it makes you happy, and if you find enjoyment out of it, that's all that should matter. That should be your only rule. Here's a few things I wish I knew when I started photography. Don't shoot in harsh lighting. Harsh lighting pretty much means direct sunlight. Alright, this is harsh lighting. 12:40 p.m. right now. It's a sunny day today with a blue sky, and this is probably the worst time you could possibly ever shoot when it's a sunny day. I mean, I'm probably overexposed right now. So we'll come back here at about 5 o'clock instead and try and take some photos with softer lighting. This is now a lot softer lighting. You can tell by the long shadows our bodies are making. There just won't be as much contrast or shadows in your shot. When it comes down to your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO, well, it's kind of hard to say what is going to be the best for your image. The simplest way to put it, the main factor that's going to change your image the most is probably going to be your aperture. The lower the number of your aperture, the more blurry the background's going to be, and the higher the number, the more in focus or sharper your shot's going to be. I would say during the day, keep your ISO as low as possible. At nighttime, bring your ISO as high as you can before it starts getting too grainy, then chuck it on a tripod, and then adjust your shutter speed accordingly. That is kind of like the triangle of photography, and probably the only 3 rules that are actually necessary. I'm going to take the exact same photos I took of Le Mans earlier, and I'll show you the difference of soft lighting and harsh lighting. it comes down to actually shutter speed, aperture, ISO, picture profiling, there is still no right or wrong way to do it. It really comes down to how you shoot and your style of shooting. I don't really like shooting with tripods that much, so I will try my best to hold my camera still and steady with the lowest possible ISO until I actually have to put it on a tripod. Shooting on a tripod at night is usually always going to get you a better shot, but I'm just sort of more run and gun, not trying to perfect anything kind of style. That's just me. So if you are still stuck and you're confused, turn to the people right in front of you, the community. What we're building right here. There's probably someone in the comment section right now that knows more about photography and cameras than I ever will, just because I'm just a scumbag fucking YouTuber that knows nothing about what I do and I just fucking talk shit in my room and embarrass my parents. Sorry, Mom. She can't hear. Or, even better yet, there are hundreds and thousands of photography pages on Facebook. Probably some in your area. Not even probably, definitely some in your area or in your local city. There'll be photography, networking pages or creative pages. I know there's heaps where I'm from Melbourne and around Australia as well. There's heaps of different creative network spaces that you can just write your questions and queries in. There are photographers out there, all different shapes and sizes, probably around every square inch of the planet. There's gonna be a photographer somewhere. And they are filled with information ready for you to just suck out of them. That sounds really fucking wrong. And you can even go out and shoot with those kind of people. Go to photo walks, go to photography events, create a meetup, go out with your friends from school or from work, just go out and take some photos. The best way to learn, and this is a proven fact on this channel, is not by sitting on your ass and watching YouTube tutorials and people like me talking absolute shit. It's by you just getting out and going shooting. That is my one tip of advice. Don't sit there and complain that you can't do this or your photos are bad or nothing's working out the way that you want it to. You just gotta go out and try. It doesn't matter if it's shit. You're gonna be shit if you start out with something anyway. It's about going out, trying and doing and taking those first steps and finding the fun in it. When I do something terrible, it's funny. You know, it's just like, wow, that was fucking horrible. I can't believe I just did that. Now you know a bit more about photography. You know just to get up, go out and shoot, but what do you shoot with? Here are my top 3 recommendations about which camera to use or to get. First off, your phone. Your phone is a great way to start with photography. Phones are getting pretty smart, especially if you have, I don't have my phone here, but if you've got like one of the latest iPhones, their cameras are getting pretty good now. Probably so good that they're competing with beginner DSLR and entry-level cameras. A mobile phone can take you really far with photography, at least just for you to learn the basics with. Next up, we have the Canon 80D with a kit lens, preferably an 18 to 135mm if you can get one. This is US, I'm speaking. You can pick up a Canon 80D with a kit lens for about $1,200. And that to me is a pretty good deal. This camera is probably something that you're looking at an intermediate to a more professional range and will take you really far with photography and filmmaking. And I think now there's even a 90D that's come out. And it also allows you to expand your filmmaking and your photography, which by the way is a really valuable skill to be able to learn both of those things. People are gonna love you because people are gonna want you to shoot and film for them. That is like good money you can mark up on that. And lastly, it's small, it's light, and it should terrify Nikon and Canon. It's a Sony A7 Mark III. It's about 2K US for the camera, and I would recommend getting a Sigma 24-70 2.8 unless you have the budget to get the Sony G Master 24-70 2.8, but the Sigma lens is just over $1,000, so a total setup of $3,000. This camera can probably really take you to a really professional point in photography and filmmaking. Right now, I'm filming on a Sony A7R Mark IV. That is the camera I use for just about everything. And the reason why I have the Mark IV, I don't really even need its 61 or 60 fucking million megapixel shit or whatever. I don't need that at all, but I do need the uncropped 4K that it films on because that really helps me with my YouTube videos and stuff. I think that's about it. I hope I taught you something new with photography today, but remember, the most important part is just getting out and going shooting. Go check out the store for a bit of North Borders merch. With that all said and done, have a shit one.